An interview is an assessment on both sides. The objectives for a candidate are very similar to the objectives of the company. A candidate wants to make sure that any company that they decide to go into is going to be a good fit for them. Anyone coming into an interview wants to make sure that they're giving the company a very genuine impression of themselves. There are lots of skills that are important for engineers that are not necessarily technical skills. Things like teamwork, mentorship. They're very, very important aspects of growing as an engineer. And you want to be able to demonstrate that you have some of these qualities during an interview. Show them where your interests are. Show them that you are interested in growing the careers of other engineers. Show them that you are someone who works well on a team.
In an engineering interview, you should certainly expect coding skills to be covered. That's the baseline against which everything else is going to be evaluated. But you should also expect to see a lot of other skills evaluated. We're going to be evaluating your communication skills. We're going to be evaluating your coachability. We're going to be evaluating the degree to which you can work in a team and express yourself and take feedback. These are all skills that you'll be using every day in an engineering position.
You should never view your interviewer as an adversary, because the interviewer is just there to assess you. They are not your enemy.
What I found help candidates do well in an interview is to prepare for an interview. I've seen a lot of candidates come through the interview process unprepared, meaning they weren't ready to talk about themselves and what they have been working on.
To get good at interviewing, you have to interview a lot. So one of my advices is to actually go out there and interview a lot. You are not going to get better by just reading books or forums. You have to imagine yourself in the mind of the company that's going to hire you and the interviewer. They are out there to gain information about you, as much information as possible. And because of that, during the interview process, don't keep things to yourself. Be open and lead the interviewers through your thought processes.
So when you're in an interview, I think there are a couple of things you should do. Make sure you communicate clearly, make sure you have a plan with everything you're going to do, especially because you're probably going to be doing coding exercises. Make sure you follow through with the plan. Another thing to watch out for is don't make assumptions that you don't verbalize.
What I have learned from conducting interviews and being trained to conduct interviews is that the most important part of an interview basically is checking to see how a candidate thinks about complicated problems. Candidates should know that we're not looking for like a perfect solution. We're definitely not looking for candidates to be able to get a perfect solution immediately, because then we wouldn't schedule an hour for interviews. The idea is just how you're able to work with the interviewer, explain your thought process.
Being a candidate, I always used to think that you need to get the answer right. Whether I'll get it or not, I always used to be nervous thinking that. But then I realized, is that the right thing? Is that what they are looking for? Of course, when you're working in a company, you will come across some situations which you haven't faced before, right? So you definitely don't know what is the right way to do it. What you do is, okay, you find approach 1, okay, let's do it this way, approach 2. So you think about what are the different ways to do it and then narrow down to a final approach.
One common pitfall that engineers have when they're interviewing, often they will make a mistake. If the interviewer is engaged, the interviewer will start discussing. It's important to think about what question the interviewer is pointing out, and before trying to solve immediately what you think it is, understand why the interview interrupted you. What were they trying to show you? And how do you need to solve that new problem that they've just asked? What did you not consider before? What possibly could you have been doing wrong? Or what assumptions have you been making? How can you rethink those assumptions to actually answer the question that's asked?
So we think that success from a candidate's point of view is more than just, do you get the job? We think that success from a candidate's point of view is, do you get a job that is going to be engaging and fulfilling and is going to meet your needs?